It is Y105, Dubuque's #1 hit music station. My name is Steve Pulaski, and my next guest has been transforming lives for years. A fitness expert who rose to popularity on shows like The Biggest Loser. She's also the host of the extremely successful podcast, Keeping It Real with Jillian Michaels. Her podcast is now a part of Bill Maher's Club Random Studios and will now feature video in addition to audio. She is Jillian Michaels. How are you today, Jillian?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Congratulations on the expansion of Keeping It Real. What's your podcast all about, Jillian?
Oh my gosh. Well, all right. Just partnered with Bill Maher now. So we're branching out a little bit, being a bit braver and trying to have a fearless exploration on all things health and wellness. And think of it like this. Hormone replacement therapy for women, testosterone replacement therapy for men. Why do men today at 30 have the testosterone levels of a 50-year-old 30 years ago? How come children, literally 18 years old, up to adults 49, why are we getting cancer at a rate that's 79% higher today than we did 30 years ago? Dispelling myths about food and fitness on the internet. Exploring our kids' vaccine schedule. Is there a cause for alarm? Yes or no? Confessions from a big food and big pharma whistleblower. That's the episode that's up this week. What do we really need to understand about various medications like Ozempic, for example? So it's all things that touch your health mentally, physically, expanding into parenting. We even had an incredible investigative journalist on to talk about an epidemic on Snapchat where our kids across the country are buying fentanyl, ordering it up like a pizza on Snapchat, and literally dying 20 feet away from their parents' room. So, again, it's a bit broader than just food and fitness, but conversations that are a bit more controversial, and we're attempting to explore them in an honest, fearless way from both sides in a judgment-free way.
There's so much that you just covered right there, and obviously cover on your podcast. It's all very important too, Jillian, but as somebody who's seen it all over the course of decades, is there a trend in your industry that concerns you? Is it maybe Ozempic? Is it obviously the fentanyl thing? Is there something that really stands out to you that you've kind of made it like a crusade recently to kind of go about, bringing awareness to?
Yeah. Well, honestly, every single episode is something that concerns me. And with health becoming a political football these days, and us not being able to talk about why we're giving babies a hepatitis B vaccine, which is for drug users and people who have risky sex, I'm concerned. So really the push of big food and big pharma to drug our kids, now we're trying to push Ozempic for 6-year-olds through the American Academy of Pediatricians, which is really a subsidiary of Big Pharma, or the gender-affirming care industry, which is about giving children, and the Biden administration is trying to remove any age limits, by the way, to gender-affirming care, which is medically transitioning children on off-label cancer drugs to block puberty, and then cross-sex hormones, and then bottom surgeries. And again, I want to be clear, this isn't about an adult who decides they want to transition their gender. God bless. I support your right to do that 100%. But the medicalization of this has very serious side effects. It's things of that nature. On top of the statistics I just mentioned, infertility is at the highest it's been in the history of humanity. Why? Why are we seeing people like Kate Middleton and Olivia Munn, Sofia Vergara, young people who are healthy, getting cancer at unprecedented rates? Why are men having this testosterone crisis? These things are deeply alarming to me, and my goal is to bring on the best experts in the world to talk about it. And should the powers that be try to silence that conversation, thankfully, I've got someone like Bill Maher behind me who was like, just do it. Do what you need to do. Have the conversations you want to have. And if we get shut down on YouTube, I'll move us to X. If we get shut down on X, I'll move us elsewhere. Right now, it's totally free, thank God. And what I mean by right now is, should it get shut down, and if we ever needed to move it to a platform like Locals or Patreon, we can, but it's totally free on YouTube, and you just go to Jillian Michaels and you subscribe. But to be honest, it's all alarming to me, which is why I think it's imperative to give people the information and then let them make their own choices. That's what we all should be able to do.
She's only been on my line a couple of minutes. She's living up to the name of that podcast, Keeping It Real. She is Jillian Michaels. A few more questions with you, Jillian. Just kind of, broader questions and such. I know he passed away just a couple of weeks ago. I wanted to get your thoughts. Did Richard Simmons have an impact on you as an instructor and a TV personality at all?
He didn't, but because I was an overweight kid, so I wasn't watching a ton of fitness stuff when I was a kid. I got more into martial arts. That's really what turned it around for me. So fighters, I had a ton of respect for. That said, I also, of course, respect him and Jack LaLanne and the Jane Fondas of the world and the Denise Austins that came before and paved the way. I respect them as business people. I respect them as professionals. And if you were to ask me now, who I find to be the greatest source of inspiration, it would be your everyday average person who isn't advantaged in any way, that overcomes the odds in any aspect of life, whether it's taking control of their health or taking control of their business, taking control of their relationships. But I do have a ton of respect for what he accomplished, absolutely.
Supplements, too, are all the rage these days, and I know that's kind of broad in just the name, but what are your takes on things like maybe pre-workout and protein powder? I feel like everywhere I go, malls or stores, I see those everywhere these days, pre-workout, protein powder, things like that. Do you have any kind of, with your expertise, do you have any kind of view on those things?
Absolutely. Well, okay, first of all, I need to disclose this off the bat. I invested in a company called Alaya Naturals. Now, I discovered this company because I was taking their products and I fell in love with it. And they weren't owned by any big parent company, and it was run by a mom of two who treated her autoimmune condition with natural foods and then started a supplement company out of it. So I have an investment. So right away, I'm going to tell you, do your own homework. I have a bias. That said, I absolutely believe the research on this. You can listen to people like Dr. Rhonda Patrick, who has a PhD that I respect tremendously, who talks about different supplements and the benefits they have, whether it's omega-3 fatty acids or a magnesium supplement or a collagen supplement, which is for vain people like myself. But the key really is, if you're going to go down this path, spend the money on something that doesn't have any fillers or any crap, that's been third-party lab tested. So what they say is in there, you can trust is in there. Always talk to your doctor, even though it might seem like something that's so benign, like a fish oil. It can interact with any medications you might be taking. But I do take a pre-workout, and Alaya has a pre-workout. And again, it's like no fillers, all from herbs, adaptogens, things like a green tea, capsaicin, cinnamon, cocoa flavanols. And I would say, again, look at the ingredients, do your research on it, research the company, make sure it's third-party lab tested, make sure it has no fillers. I like food-based supplements, but I am biased. I am a believer. Do your own homework on it.
I've always wanted to ask a fitness expert this. How do you combat the very human urge to be lazy? What gives you the resilience to work out or eat healthy when maybe you just want to sit on the couch and eat ice cream, Jillian?
I take a more balanced approach to this. I would say that you can sit on the couch a good amount of time if you're moving a good amount of time. So, for example, get yourself a walking pad, and then you can work during the day as you get your steps in, and you can sit there and veg watching Netflix at night, right? Or go to the gym, or you do your favorite Pilates class, or spin class, or CrossFit class, and then you can go and veg out on the couch. I don't want people to eat ice cream for every meal, but if it's 20% of your daily calorie intake, the world is not going to end. It's about giving people more reasonable strategies so they can live a more balanced life. It shouldn't be all or nothing. And on the days where I would rather stick needles in my eyes than go to the gym, I tell myself, like, okay, Jill, go get on the step mill, answer some emails. And if in 15 minutes you're still miserable and you want to go home, go home. I will tell you that at least, I don't want to say 9 times out of 10 because it's more than that. It's probably like 49 times out of 50, I stay. It's the rare occasion that I'm like, no, I'd rather jump in front of a bus today than I go home. But I think if you have that more moderate approach and more forgiving attitude, it's manageable. It's the all or nothing that nobody can sustain under any circumstance.
Last one for you. One of the hallmarks of being a radio DJ is I sit on my ass all day, and it might be more difficult for me than some people to get my steps in and such. For people that have really stationary jobs, what do you recommend for them?
I would actually encourage you to get a stand-up desk, first and foremost. Standing burns 1.5 times the calories of sitting. It's so much better for your back. It's so much better for circulation. We now call sitting the new smoking, which is a bit of a hyperbole, but I think you get the idea. And then I would make some scheduled time to get in, let's say, 4 30-minute sessions a week, even if it's at home in your living room, and control what you eat. which sounds easier than it actually is. It's very simple, but it's not easy. But when you're eating well, you're not doing harm, if you will. Remove the sodas, remove the juices, remove the 300-calorie sugary coffee beverages, right? It doesn't cost you more to remove stuff that isn't good for you. Controlling your diet we can do even when we're sitting, and those strategies will make a huge difference, I promise you.
She's Jillian Michaels. I want to give you the final word. Talk about your podcast, Keeping It Real with Jillian Michaels. Promote your socials. Where can people find you? You get the last word, Jillian.
Oh, the last word, I'll take it. Jillian Michaels on YouTube. Subscribe. It's free. And there's a ton of information yet to come because we have a bunch of shows that get released every single week. I think you guys are going to love it. Cherry pick the things you like. And at the very least, educate yourself so you can make the right decisions for yourself and your family. It's a judgment-free zone.
Keeping It Real with Jillian Michaels, now part of Bill Maher's Club Random Studios. You can watch it now or listen to it wherever you consume podcasts. Jillian, I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Well, thank you.